Massachusetts.
What is it?
Let them hear you. Massachusetts!
What is it?
Let them hear you! Massachusetts!
What is it?
Let them hear you!
Some new furniture. That's why we're a few minutes late, but hey, we pulled it off.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining us as always. I know I'm drinking a Coors Light, but we've got the second win 42nd parallel beers on display here.
Got pantry.
Pantry. Sitting front and center here with a brand new table. You guys all hauled in. It's I walked in and it was you're downloading everything. 20 minutes to showtime. Crunch time as always at Cage Titans headquarters. That's just how it operates 100% of the time, even on Monday.
I got to give a shout out to Big Mikey. So we've been talking. So we actually have not finished the set down here. So first things first. We're still in middle of making everything
under
construction. But we've been talking about this for like 3, 4, 5 months since we moved the studio down to the basement about getting furniture and a set and all that stuff. And Mikey's like, I'm not taking no for an answer. Thursday afternoon, hella high water. You're meeting me, and we met. He convinced me to go to Jordan's Furniture. We got this great table. We got a bunch of shelves. We got all kinds of stuff. So we're excited for the new set. In the next week or two, we're going to do some shelves. We're actually thinking about cutting out the cage mat. Oh, you don't want to tell everybody that? Okay.
Listen, we want people to be surprised.
All right.
Shout out to Jordan's Furniture. This dude wanted to go to IKEA, and I'm like, dude, let's just go look at Jordan's clearance section real quick, because I just bought a table not too long ago. It's a great table. And look at this awesome table. It spins in the middle, all types of wild shit, and it's really good work. So
here we go.
Here we are.
Here we go. Official.
Yeah, we're official now.
We're starting on
I feel kind of small.
We got a table.
Isn't that a good small next to Mikey?
You want me to get the high chair for you?
No, I know. You might need to get me the high chair. But either way, we got a stack show tonight. We got Aaron Hughes calling in all the way from New Mexico, training out at Jackson Wink. We have his opponent, Jake Hixenbaugh, calling all in from Bone MMA. We had his coach on last week. Then coming at the end of the hour, we have Trevor Gudde in studio. And we got to make sure we watch out because he's 6'7".
I already warned him. I saw him on the way in, and I was like, listen, I banged my head on the sprinkler pipes. And I'm the only one over 6 feet here, not even 6 feet. All you short people. You,
I always
Leonard,
forget. Like I don't
you
have to
guys
remind
don't
people
have
when
to
I
bother.
come
You
down
just
here.
walk right underneath like a midget at limbo. It just
There you go.
it-
And so yes, we have Trevor Gudde, and then after Trevor Gudde, we have his opponent Jack Congdon calling in. So we got a stacked show. I'd love to shoot the shit. Maybe we can do that at the end of the night. But I know Short Fuse is on a short time frame because he has training. So let's bring him in and see what he has to say about his upcoming fight.
Hey,
there he is. What's going on, Aaron Short Fuse Hughes? How you doing, man? Oh, bro.
Mikey just.
Oh,
I'm gonna come see him if I get the dub.
What'd you say,
you're
bro? I can't hear you.
You're gonna have to repeat. You're a little frozen up right there, brother.
So it's funny. So he said he's going to come see him when he gets the dub.
No, you know what? You know where I stay, man. You know, last time you didn't come collect, so.
So for those who don't know, Big Mikey is a super fan, and for a long time he's been doing a hot wing hot take challenge where
We're getting away from that.
he'll choose who he thinks will be the winner in the upcoming fight. And if he picks against you and you win, your first round of beers is on him. Aaron, we actually got to talk a little bit on Thursday. It doesn't seem like that damn internet connection at Jackson Wink is any better. Frozen again, looking up his nose. Let's see. We'll take him off for a minute and see if he can get his internet going.
I think he's moving.
Yeah, but let him get his internet.
Let's bring him.
But either way, while he's getting his, so I actually got to talk to him. So I do every week. We do the 12 at 12, and I get to do a live. And he actually he jumped in with me on Thursday. He was talking about how he's always said that since he's gone pro, he is dead set on fighting the best of the best. He never asked for easy fights, and how excited he was, looking forward to taking on Jake Hixenbaugh. And he just has his eyes set on the next level, and he wants to take out the toughest guys he can on the local level, which makes it easier as a matchmaker because nowadays you do tend to fall into like guys being like, well, is it the right fight right now? Oh, give me a couple more wins. Maybe I'll take that after. Guys like Hixenbaugh and Aaron Hughes, they're not about that. Like, give me tough fights and let's see where I'm at. Let's see if I have it. So how do we do on his internet connection, Joe? If it's not better, we can just bring in Jake.
He is getting in his car. It looks like it's getting a little better, so I'll bring him on right now.
Okay, perfect. It's funny. We had this thing. We were like, remember on Thursday, Aaron? I said Jackson Wink, great MMA gym, shitty Wi-Fi. How you doing there, Aaron?
Don't ever diss Jackson Wink's Wi-Fi.
I know, seriously. Well, either way, there we go. Well, that's what happens with technology. For all of our millennials, the same thing happened last night or the night before on Netflix. If you've read about it, Netflix tried to do Love Is Blind 4, the live reunion.
Can you guys
hear me? They had some internet issues.
There he is.
There we go.
Here I am. I don't know what was happening there.
So what kind of rental car you got out there?
Ferrari?
BMW X4.
Oh!
They actually gave me an upgrade. I was supposed to have a Toyota Camry, but they double charged me for the insurance, so they gave me a free upgrade.
Damn, ride in style. So what's it like going out there? This is, I think, at least the second or third fight camp you've gone out there. What's the experience like going out there at Jackson Wink?
Yeah, so I've trained all over the country. I've trained at Team Alpha Male a few times. I've trained in Vegas. I've trained here. Here is probably like the best place that I've trained because they're very technical, whereas like some of the other gyms, it's like it's hard work, but it's like grind, but you don't really learn anything. I've been here 3 weeks. I feel like I'm a completely different fighter in just 3 weeks. Like I'm doing like one-on-one sessions with like Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn, and I'm just like leveling up so much. And it's like they've made world champion after world champion after world champion after world champion, and I can't wait to show everything that they've been showing me to use on May 27th.
Yeah. So speaking of May 27th, your opponent Jake Hixenbaugh, you didn't compete on our last show, but you were there as a fan. What's something that made him stand out as a potential opponent for you?
He's actually somebody I've been looking at him for a couple years because he was offered to one of my teammates as an amateur probably like 3 or 4 years ago. So I've had my eyes on him, and then I saw him fight at CES where he made his pro debut, and then I watched his fight against Jerry Muse, and then I seen him at the after party, and I don't know, I felt like he was kind of grilling me or something. So I was like, all right, like let's get it, Like I ain't scared to fight anybody. Like I'm over here doing rounds with some of the best fighters in the world, so I definitely ain't scared to fight Jake Hixenbaugh, that's for sure.
Not afraid to fight anybody. You've been taking on all comers anytime, anywhere. You saw him taking his mean mugging at the after party, and then the fight takes place. You're on a hell of a streak yourself, getting some stringing first round guillotine finishes together. Do you see that as being your strong suit in this fight against him as an opponent?
I think he's definitely gonna look to take me to the ground. He's a decent opponent. Like I'm not overlooking him at all. I'm not underestimating him. The last time I underestimated somebody, I got knocked out. So I won't ever underestimate somebody ever again. But I think on the feet, I'm gonna be a little bit too much for him. From what I've seen in his fights, he's got decent striking, but he doesn't really like to strike for too long. He always tries to take the fight to the ground. And I'm assuming that he's gonna try to take me down again. But if he does, I mean, I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu just like he is. I'm comfortable on the ground. I'm even more comfortable on the feet. And I think he's gonna be in for hell when he realizes that he can't take me down and that he has to deal with my striking and my movement, the way I set up my shots. And who knows, if I want to take him down, I can take him down at any time I want to. So wherever the fight goes, man, I'm gonna be ready. I'm coming. Like 2023 is supposed to be the biggest year of my career, and I'm coming to prove to everybody that I belong in the UFC. And if I can't beat a guy like Jake Hixenbaugh, he's 2-1, winning record. Then it proves that I'm not ready yet, and I feel like I am ready. So I'm gonna come out here May 27th and show everybody that I belong.
So your game plan, you want to showcase all the striking skills as opposed, despite your flawless guillotine streak that you got going here. You're trying to break him. You're trying to showcase a full set.
I'm gonna show all my skills: my striking, my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu, just overall MMA. Everybody thinks I'm a striker, but I got 2 back-to-back first-round finishes with guillotines, and I'm just a completely different fighter every time I step in there. And I'm coming to show that on May 27th. No disrespect to my opponent; he's a tough opponent. I know it's gonna be a tough fight. He's very tall, switches stances a lot, and comes from a good school. Like Jacob Bone is a great fighter, great coach, but I'm just coming to show that these kids are not on my level.
Yeah, and you're down in Albuquerque, New Mexico right now. Last time out, Fall River came out and drove for you. When are you making the trip back out to finalize the camp out here and get that Fall River crowd for your return?
Yeah, so I'm out here for the rest of this week, and then I'm flying home Sunday, and then Monday I'll be home Monday morning, and then I'll be back home training with the New England Cartel again. Like I was doing before I left, I was training with those guys 2-3 times a week, and then I'll be back training at Regiment Training Center as well.
Amazing. So before we let you run, any last minute shout outs? Because I know you're on a time crunch. I know you had to go at 8:15. So anything last minute things before we let you run?
Yeah, just shout out to my sponsors. I got a good amount of them now, and they all help me get out here in Albuquerque. Ultimate Potential CBD, Reposo Realty, Troy City Reptiles, Be Kind, Please Revive Massage Therapy, Camara Chiropractic. Shout out to all of them. And May 27th, you better tune in because this is a show that you're not going to want to miss. And no disrespect to my opponent, Jake Hixenbaugh, but I'm going to break him even worse than Gerald Muse did.
Woo!
All right.
All moms better watch out.
I mean, we can bring a Hixenbaugh in if you want to see what he has
Bring
to
him in.
rebuttal.
Let's stir that pot, baby.
I don't
Bring
have
him in. How do we bring him in?
I don't have wrestling for another hour, so I got time.
Wait, before you bring him in, I got a question. Oh, wait, too late. All right.
Hey, what
Hi,
up?
Jake.
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Hitman.
How y'all
I
doing?
mean, listen, we couldn't lose this opportunity. I mean, he had some strong words. What do you got? What do you got? I couldn't not let you get a rebuttal on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he saw my last fight. In my opinion, I fought like shit compared to what I usually do. I didn't set up any of my kicks and my punches. I want to show my striking, so we're gonna see the striking battle out here for a little bit. I was hoping he was gonna want to stand a little bit. I thought he was gonna maybe want to take me down. So I'm excited for you to want to strike with me. I want to strike with you. So let's do this shit.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
You got Mikey fired up. So, Jake, obviously you made your Cage Titans debut last show. When the name Aaron Hughes came across your site, what have you seen from him in his fight so far that either stand out to you or that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, he likes to bring the action. Like, I saw you say some stuff about me mean mugging you at the bar. I'm gonna be real. I didn't even see you at the bar. I was pretty drunk, but you know, screw it. But like, I'll fight anybody out here, man. I saw you at the venue. You know, I'm not afraid of anybody. You're not afraid of anybody. You know, we're two finishers, so let's fucking give them it, and that's all I got to say about it. So I ain't got no words for you. I don't really know you that well. I've gotten offered your name this one time, and I fucking took it. So I know you train out of a really good school. I know you train out of a really good, like, with really good dudes, man. A lot of UFC guys. Rob Font. He just fucking got that knockout. I was rooting for him too. He's a good fighter. You train with a lot of good dudes, but you know, I'm gonna bring it to you.
Right, Aaron. Before you run, any last words?
Nah, I just think it's got fight of the night written all over it. He said he wants to strike. I'm looking to strike, so let's go out there and show that we're two guys who are ready for the UFC and go out there and put on the show. That's what I plan on doing.
Yeah, definitely don't underestimate my striking now.
Oh,
I don't ever underestimate it again.
Last
time I did that, I got knocked out. So
I know you're tough, man, but don't underestimate me. The way you're talking.
All right.
I love it. Two
Never
young,
that.
hungry competitors.
Don't you underestimate me either, because
I don't. I don't underestimate anybody. I'm out here to fight everybody out here.
I'm out here doing 4 or 5 sessions a day, so I'm
I like
fucking,
it. You need to.
I'm fucking coming out here. I'm fucking training my ass off, and I'm gonna bring it, man. I'm gonna bring
I
it.
respect it.
Win,
I
lose, or
respect
draw,
it.
bro. Win, lose,
I
or draw.
respect it.
At
I
the
got
end
a
of the
beer
day,
for one of you guys. Don't matter who.
win, lose, or draw.
Someone's getting a
At the end of the
beer.
day, we can shake hands, drink a beer after, maybe smoke some weed if you do that, and
Yeah.
may the best man win.
Yeah.
But
All right, Aaron.
until we fight, we hate each other, man. We're trying
right,
to
Aaron,
both make a double check. So at the end of the day, you know, let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Aaron. Thank you so much. Enjoy the time out in New Mexico. And here he is, man. I love it, man. Jake, you're cut from the Jacob Bones cloth for sure. You know, you're not afraid of tough
we're
fights.
cut from the same cloth out here, man. We ain't scared of shit.
It's fun. I love what Aaron said in calling it, because once this matchup was made, this was kind of my sleeper circle up for fight of the night, just because we got some bangers that are loading up at the top of the card, a bunch of which we're going to talk about, but talking about like two young, hungry, budding competitors, young in their career, facing off, and then just to hear you guys talk about it, how much acknowledgement and respect you guys have for each other's accolades, and just knowing the dog that both of you bring. I'm even more excited for it, and I have to agree that this is the sleeper circle for potential fight of the night, because Aaron Hughes, no stranger to Plymouth Memorial Hall. You followed in your coach Jacob Bones' footsteps and kind of exploded right onto the scene, opening up the show with an all-out war your last time out. No, things didn't go your way. Yep. You put on a hell of a showcase in your first performance. It was a dogfight through and through, and can't wait to have you back and see if you can try and follow in your coach's footsteps and get that first win a second time out.
Oh yeah, man, I'm excited to fight for you guys. You guys were probably my favorite show so far. Well, definitely my favorite show so far to fight for. You know, the fans. I had a bigger pop than I thought I was gonna have. I fought another Boston guy. I hear, you know, we had a lot of guys come from Rochester, but they were screaming. They're doing chants and stuff. I loved it, man. And hoping to get another Rochester crowd out there again to compete with the Boston crowd again. I know he's probably gonna have a little bit louder of a crowd than Jerry did. Um, yeah, this kid he DM'd me just May 27th, and then like I just saw it and I hit the thumbs up on it. I don't really do like the DM and shit, like the Twitter shit or the Instagram talking. I'll fight you. I'll talk to you person to person, but at the end of the day, like I'm not doing the online stuff. He also commented on a personal Facebook post of mine addressing my loss to my friends and my family, tagging you guys like Cage Titans, and like I'm not even friends with him on Facebook, so he found me on everything, and he really wanted this fight. So, you know, this is a fight that like one of the one of the guys that I beat back at NEF, Nathaniel Grimard. I'm kind of putting it, but I saw one of his teammates fought him one time, and you know, I it's not. I'm, you know, like he's gotten better and better each time. His striking is good. You know, that's why I want to test myself against that. His wrestling's pretty good. His jiu-jitsu's pretty good. And but yeah, going back to that Nate thing, he told me that it'll be a good fight after I fought him. So, you know, it's kind of like foreshadowing into the future here. So I'm excited for it.
So he slid into your DMs asking for this
Oh
fight.
yeah.
You know, on that note, um, how does that play into your motivation? Obviously, you know, coming from Jacob Bone's school, like you're always motivated to fight. Does that give that little extra oomph? Like this kid went out of his way to search you out, comment on your stuff to your family, and kind of like poking the bear. Does that put a little extra oomph on
Yeah.
this?
Well, so like the second like I got home from Plymouth last time, took a day, and then I was right in the gym lifted, getting stronger, and then I was right into training again. I wasn't really hurt at all, and then I was really motivated to fight. I was thinking, you know, maybe June we're looking to get back in there. Yeah, and then he DM'd me, and I was like, all right, you know, I'm down for it. He didn't really like say like any shit like you're a bitch or anything. Like it was just like you freed May 27th, you know, and yeah, I'm always motivated, man. I want to be a world champion. So it's the only way to be it is to beat everybody around here. So any name that comes to me, I'm gonna fight him. I'm cut from the same cloth as my coach, just like y'all said. So you know, that's what we do, man. We ain't scared of shit out here, and you know, we work real hard every fucking day. I work with the best guys too, you know, and John or Elvis. You guys know where Elvis. Fucking work with him every week. Nat, you know, Grady, Anthony, Kenny, you know, all those guys, Moose, Liam. Like, we work with a lot of guys. You're going to know a lot of people from Rochester in the coming years. So we're going to be a city to know soon. So I'm just telling y'all that.
Nice guys like Moose. I want to know what I want to see Moose fight.
Is Moose coming in the entourage from Rochester?
He wants to fight for y'all at some point in time too, man. He's one hell of a striker.
Yeah.
He's fought for CES a few times and fought really good dudes every single time. He's another guy that'll fight anybody. So I'm just letting y'all know
Moose.
that
Who's
too.
Moose?
So,
What's his name?
his name is it's hard for me to pronounce his full name. Musayab, by Ayabina. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so don't
What
put me
weight
on
class?
blast
That's
right
why
there.
he's Moose.
185
What weight class?
or 170.
All right, cool. All right, so before we let you go, Jacob Bones actually in the comments. He just said you just got the work in. What?
Oh yeah.
Masayib Bayina. He just actually threw in the comments. I can't
Yep.
pronounce it either. But anyways, I got to go back to the last Cage Titans event where you and your coach had the privilege of fighting on the same card. What was it
Memorable.
like for you in the back room seeing that victory? Because, like, you know, you've been along for a while training with Jacob, and and to see all that emotion and all that hard work pay off. How was that for you back then?
So I was up in the crowd with my family watching him fight when he was doing it, and to be honest, like, as crazy it sounds, like, it's not that, like, I wasn't surprised. I was super happy because, like, I know how hard he worked for this fight. Like, just like every fight, man, he's really putting stuff together. Like, he's not like these other people out here. He's not staying away from these other guys. Like, he's fighting the toughest of the tough. A lot of people counted him out, for this fight, and he went out there and he finished him. I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and he went out there and he did his thing, and I've seen him hit everybody in training with that roll through guillotine. That's like watching practice every day right there, watching that. I was so excited though, man. Like, just, going through the process with him for the first time ever was something I'll never forget. And it doesn't get better than that. I can't wait to do it again. This time both of us get the W. I can't wait for this one, man. I really like the matchup for his guy. I think he's gonna finish him again, like, get another finish for y'all. I'm gonna get a finish, and Rochester's gonna go 2-0 that night.
Here we go. All right, I love to see it. Well, any last minute shout outs before we let you run for the night and get into recovery mode?
Yeah, shout out to my team. Shout out to Full Contact Management. Lars, man, you're an awesome manager. Shout out to Sweet Heel. You guys are the best. Shout out to Bone MMA, Bearing Jiu Jitsu, Synthesis. You guys help me every single week, day in and day out. Time to make my dreams come true, and let's do this shit.
Right, man. Well, thank you so much for your time.
I got to say, shout out to the Hixenbaugh Wi-Fi there, because he's 1 for 1. Jake and
Fire
Jacob
Wi-Fi.
Bone, it took him like 3-4 tries really to get an interview that wasn't interrupted by watching Rochester Wi-Fi.
We live in a different town, so it's like Virgin Wi-Fi is better.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you in a few short weeks.
Hell yeah, I can't wait. See y'all.
All right, guys. Awesome. Speaking of,
I'm even more excited for this fight than I was originally when they haven't really talked about their, I don't know, respect and motivation to fight each other, if you will.
I mean, he slid in his DMs, and like he said, he's not even friends with me, so he has to search me out.
And I love Aaron's approach on the streak that he's on, wanting to take the challenging fights and surge himself to the top contender set. I love the headspace and mentality that he's in, and this fight is going to be a banger. Yeah. They're both going to bring it. So
for sure. Well, speaking of shitty Wi-Fi, the only way to have the best Wi-Fi, so to speak, and be a guest on Table Titans is get your ass down here, and we have a guest in studio. This is our first in studio person. We're gonna have to shift around.
No, we had JoJo on down here with the cage setup, but this is the first in studio person with the studio guest.
He's gonna bring the low chair.
I gotta try
to go that way.
Yeah,
you shift that way.
I'll come this way.
And I'm telling, do we have another mic?
I'm gonna give him mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him mine. Yeah, well, no, it'll make up the difference. It'll make up the difference. Honestly.
Oh, you give him the shorty.
He's still taller than you.
I mean, he's still taller. Hey, we got to see how he
evens it out.
You got to hold that.
Hold it. All right, I'll hold. I'm
gonna shift over some
double fisted mics.
No, we're good.
It'll work.
Everyone's in the shot. If you look,
can they still hear the boss man at home?
Me, I'm heard.
You can speak. I'm heard. We can share a microphone.
Oh, that's pretty good.
See, yeah, it works out. It makes up the difference in height.
How big my head looks though.
I gotta say, I almost cut. You're on the poster for this show.
Yeah.
I almost had to cut you off the poster because your head. It's like
no, this OCD. He's sitting there with the laptop, and he's steaming through his ears.
They minimize my head to be the same size as the other for the photo, and it looks really odd. Because when we do the face-off, I see that photo, and I'm like, oh my God, they're enormous. And then I get in front of them, and it's like, oh, okay, that's
Well, I was trying to so I'm usually I have some things that I do. I'll line up the collarbone, I'll line up the nose, eyes, lips, chin. but you just throw all the fucking
Well,
optics off
well,
because it's like you're all neck, then you get the head.
Well, the one that I tried to do last, when we were trying to fight in front of Dana White, whatever event that was.
Yeah.
My opponent pulled out medical issues. But in the face-off photo, because of the way they had to modify everything, my hand behind his head
huge hand.
was enormous.
Yeah,
it was the size of his entire head. It was one of those just like, oh, they modified, they shrunk everything except for that. It looked very odd. Yeah, but this is the game being the tallest welterweight ever. Or
I was gonna say you must be right.
Yeah, right up there, if I'm not mistaken. I can't
It's
think of one off the top of my head, but
and you still.
I know.
He's
if
still
I sit
pretty
up,
tall.
If I sit
Yeah.
up straight, yeah.
Like,
I'm the
maybe
same
we
height as all you guys.
You know what we should
I'm
do?
slouching.
Why don't we get him the case of beer to sit?
I don't need to be taller.
if there's anyone that doesn't need a booster seat, it's Trevor Gudde. But to be fair, it wasn't only.
It's not a regular deal, and he's still on high.
To be fair, he wasn't the only one throwing off your Photoshop OCD right there. You had 4 people at 4 different heights, like 3-inch discrepancies
So
at least
so I
throughout.
was matching up because it's you on the poster with Jack, and then it's also Zach Esab on the poster with his opponent Bone.
Jacob Bone. They're
And
all
it's
different
like-
heights.
So on
How
that,
tall is Jacob Bone?
6 feet he's listed as.
what's his name?
definitely not
He's
6
like
feet.
5'7",
Yeah.
5'8".
Yeah, Tom.
So I'm like trying to get you guys all back because I want because you guys are
It's
all
like the
in a
singular
row.
bar.
Yeah,
Just like-
This sucks. I hate it. And I was like, all right, I'm just not going to put these guys on the poster.
This is the thing nobody told you when you were like, all right, you prepared for this weird Photoshop experience you're about to have?
It's crazy. Sometimes I'll match up nipples or belly buttons, but then like their body type, like long and lanky. It's crazy.
You've given him a lot of headaches.
You have.
It's the people that don't see behind the scene the steam that comes out of his ears when, like, at 3 a.m. when he's just trying to fucking do the graphics.
I just need him to be the same size.
Yeah, we pitched me just taking his phone like Friday night and Saturday.
Just taking it.
crazy.
Actually, I think I have a can over there out to show. We won't break it, but it's when you and JoJo were on the beer can.
Oh, right on.
So you guys are on both sides, and it's like his head's a big. He has like a fat, wide head.
Yeah.
And then you had like a tall, skinny head. And I was
Super
like,
fat head.
As something that I didn't know was going to happen, that was one of the you get into fighting for reasons, like whatnot. But like getting my face on a beer can was one of those where I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to happen. I just got tagged in it all of a sudden. It was like, oh man, I sent one of those to my dad.
Did you send him one?
Yeah, he loved it.
You're a beer guy.
Oh, absolutely.
How did you like that? You're drinking a beer right now.
I know.
I mean, it's
I
only
ran
Miller
5
High
miles
Life.
this morning. Yeah.
It's only Miller High Life.
Yeah. No, I go sober 4 to 5 weeks out.
So next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And until then, I don't drink. When I first started, I used to, I'd have a celebration day the moment before I had to go sober, where it's like, let's hit it, let's fucking roll. And it was a month to 5 weeks out, but you still have to have something where you got over that little hump, so you wouldn't desire it so much. But at this point, the moment I find out I have an opponent, beer doesn't taste the same anymore. There's like this acidic guilt to it, like the moment that I know I should be training harder.
Gotcha.
And with how it's been going recently, how hard we've been hitting it for this fight, I don't have that guilt right now.
You're like, all right, I worked hard today.
I can honestly say I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my entire life.
Shit.
This is something we were talking about at Saturday practice, where we did a 4.5 mile run before 3 hours of pad work. And I did great. I felt great. And it's like I was a little depleted. It was a hell of a week of training. But just that realization of like, oh man, 18-year-old me would be jealous of this. Like, and that's not something a lot of people can say. Like, man, I am now at 32 years old, like in the best shape I've ever been in my entire life, hands down. And it helps. It helps. The confidence is there now.
Yeah. Yeah. And is the motivation, is it this particular matchup or kind of like seeing like, your prime right now? That like what?
It's a little bit of both. This particular matchup doesn't.
What are you doing?
This particular matchup doesn't call forward anything that wasn't already there. Like honestly, it was one of those where when I'm thinking about it, if I called out Congdon, people would be like, "Are you kidding me? You can't call out a guy that's fucking 2-0 that bought a couple cans and was recently an amateur like that." You've got to.
No.
You like it when people stir the pot. You hear that?
Yeah, yeah.
I was focused on you for a second. My fault.
It would be
Bought a couple of
inappropriate
cans.
of me to call out a guy in his position. People would judge that. But having somebody like him call me out, is like, oh, fuck yeah, cool. I mean, sweet, yeah, let's do it. I can't ask to fight somebody that's only got 2 fights. But if they call me out and he's a Cage Titans guy that people like, and it makes it kind of a high risk, low reward in a funny aspect, because I am expected to beat him by people that know me and know him. And if I do, nobody outside New England knows who he is. There's no big deal reward for this. Nobody in a bigger organization is going to be impressed by this fight, no matter how it goes. But if I lose, it means I'm not really ready for that level anymore, you know, and that is frightening in a sense. But I feel very confident about this. So it's high risk, low reward, but it's also not the scariest fight I've ever had. You know, I'm training harder than I've ever trained. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. My coaches are taking this extremely seriously. I'm taking this extremely seriously, but I'm looking forward to it, which is something that I hadn't felt in a little while. The last couple of fights had a weird job feel to them where I wasn't looking forward to it. It was something that I had to get out of the way. And this was the first one in a little while where it's like, oh my God, I can't wait for this. This is going to be a fucking blast.
You think that was because you were fighting for the title? You were surging on that upper echelon?
No.
Put a
it
little
was
pressure on it?
It was just where I was in life.
Okay.
Like, it was very much outside
Coming off
factors.
the wedding? And
yeah, all sorts of stuff. And our gym transitioning from what was supposed to be a temporary gym during the transition to, or during the pandemic, to realizing that we had enough students to make it real. It was a funny place to be in for a little bit. And now that's gone. Now I'm enjoying training. I'm looking forward to it. We have a wrestling coach that's teaching us stuff. I had that realization where it's like, when was the last time you learned something new in class? When was the last time you were pushed? For those last couple fight camps, I couldn't think of anything. And now we've got coaches that are pushing me. I'm learning new stuff every day. I'm training with Muay Thai champions and stuff like that. It's much more fun. Yeah, it reminds me of like when I started, when everything was fucking new and awesome and super exciting. So yeah, this one, I'm really enjoying this fight camp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you were saying about, you know, like your status. You've been around as a pro for a long time, and
Been around as an amateur for a long time, too.
Yeah, I mean, you've been around the game
A minute.
yeah, quite a
long
minute.
time now. Yeah,
Quite a minute. But kind of like we mentioned Rob Font earlier. He just had that win over Adrian Yanez, and it was kind of like a passing of the torch fight that he was like, oh, this guy's an up and coming young prospect. You know, I'm up at the upper echelon, have been for a long time, but I had that fight when I was coming up as a young prospect as well. So you kind of feel like this is that kind of stage right now where Jack is trying to get that leapfrog to the top of the division.
Yeah,
class
I think that's what he wants.
Because you've been around forever.
Oh, it would be a big win
fight,
against me. That'd be the biggest win I think he's ever had.
And he still hasn't tasted defeat.
Exactly.
He's undefeated as a pro, never lost as an amateur, never seen a third round, only seen a second round once. So
which is intriguing.
He's got quite a resume. Though he's 2-0, he's still got quite an exquisite resume.
Yeah, well, you just wonder how hard you've been pushed. You know, like I going 6-0 as an amateur was really cool, but losing was quite the experience. In the aspect that, man, I matured a lot. And it changed the way you train, and it changed the way you look at fighting and how you study it and stuff like that, where blind confidence goes a really long way in this sport. I'll say that I won my first fight because of unfounded confidence. That guy was better than I was, but he was scared and I wasn't. And that'll get you really, really far, in amateur MMA especially. Just fucking knowing or thinking, you know, that you're better than the person and believing that is an enormous part of the sport. But then you cross into that pro barrier where it is about skill. It is about the people you're training with, how long you've been training, time on the mat, and you know what you know and what happens when you panic versus when they panic, what happens when you're pushed and stuff like that. And I think that'll be what shows in this fight, is that I've been there. I've been to the shittiest places fighting can put you, you know, and still love it. Fucking love it. Can't wait to do it again. And I think that'll be the difference here. You know.
That's funny because when I was trying to like write the preview for this fight, and kind of, you know, like your careers are very parallel. Like though, like you're at different times.
Oh, very.
You know,
much,
he was under 4-0, 5-0, held the title that you held when you were 6-0. You know, the #1 welterweight when you went pro, and all the accolades that you had, and then you went pro. And now here he is, and it's like I think
tall. Yeah.
He's got a tall guy. Not your tall guy. Say it tall around.
He might be. This is going to be the first time he's the shorter opponent in a fight, Jack. He's 6'2", yeah. So he's a considerably tall welterweight.
Every time I fought a tall guy that is used to being the tallest, like, man, is that something they've never felt before. And everybody says the same thing. Oh, we've got tall people that are going to train with me, and oh, they're emulating his style. And it's like, are they? Are they? Are they really? Yeah.
It's funny. In my write-up, and actually Andy redid a write-up, which, you know, it was on our website. But I was like, that's the biggest thing with you. When anybody asks me about Trevor, it's just like, I can go grab a couple 6-footers and be like, hey, you're a welterweight, you're around this height, cool, let's emulate you, and here are some things he does. He does the switch kick off this, he does that. It's like, when you're fighting Trevor Gudde, the first time you're going to encounter what it's like to step in there with a 6'7" welterweight is when you're there in fight night.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot, like, you're 100% right. And I think that's a factor that people, you know, they might not really understand. They're like, oh, well, he's a brown belt, or he's whatever this, or it's like, yeah, but it's a lot different. Even stuff that shouldn't work might work against you.
Absolutely.
You know, I look at like that John Adams thing. That was just a weird position. And like with your length of your neck, and if that's against me, he can never get that.
I've probably seen, not even kidding, 1,500 jiu-jitsu matches, probably 1,000 MMA fights, and I've never seen it happen before. Yeah, it's like, now I've seen it, noted. Yeah. And now I know what to do. But man, that's MMA. That's why this sport's.
It was kind of like your Dead Orchard armbar, where it's like, I had never seen anything like that before. Didn't know when it happened, when it occurred.
Well, that's why this is cool. Like, man, John Adams did it right. You know, he threw something. He threw something. And
but I also think that's something that against different body types probably wouldn't.
Nope. No, I don't think it would have worked against anybody except for me. Which is why it's like, man, that's really cool. Yeah. If the better fighter always won in this sport, it'd be kind of boring to watch. You know who to bet for. You know what was going to happen. But that's not how it works. A lot of it is just having the mindset I didn't have of find a way. Like, I was trying to make it artful and beautiful and trying to be perfect back then. And that, followed by the couple of others after it, it's like, this is a fight. And I can't make it perfect. When I was an amateur, I was finding every single way to find a way through. I was trying to put myself in every position you could find in fighting to find a way through it. And then when I went pro, there was this huge pressure of just do it right. Like, never, like, make it mathematically perfect. I need 3 different escapes from every single position and every angle of position. But that's not fighting. Like, you just never know what the other person's going to do. And if they say, fuck your hand fighting, screw everything you're trying to do, I'm just going to swing at you, then all of the math that I've been doing to calculate this doesn't matter anymore. And that's the difference between, and it depends on who you're fighting. Fighting an intelligent fighter versus fighting somebody like Jack is going to be tough, because the type of mind play that I use won't necessarily work. He might not just pay attention to it. And if he doesn't, then it doesn't matter. All the things I could say and all the things I could do might not work if he just doesn't notice it, you know, which changes the type of mind games you play against an opponent.
I got to ask you, because Ken Moy, teammate of yours, we do a TikTok segment every Tuesday, TikTok 12 at 12, me and Ken. One of the things that kind of you're making me think about is, we said, like, is being a fighter an attribute? Like, people that are martial artists, or they're just fighters. And like, we had a whole kind of like, you know, breakdown on that. And that's something that, like, you know, that mathematical, methodical type approach with, like, here's how you escape this, this, and this. It's like, then you get in there with a guy who's a fighter. Yeah. And it's like, oh, shit's out the window. It's like,
if they don't do it right, I didn't know the counter to it back then. Like, poor fighters were kind of my weakness for a little bit there, because I had, like, well, if I block this, then their logical next step is this. And if they ignore that and do whatever they want, then, man, does that fuck up my game. And now it's a game of combining the science with the fight, you know, making it beautiful and perfect, but it's also a fight. Like, there is a violence in there that you have to embrace a little bit. Yeah. And it's different with everybody. I remember fighting Neil von Flater, and that was a beautiful fight. That was a mathematical
throwback.
Like, talk about another throwback of the face-offs. He actually brought a stool.
But him and Matt Bino were 2 of my favorite fighters for a long time, because of the way they thought about it.
Another one of the, like, I remember that Table Titans. You and Neil Von Flater being here
high-five
live, high
instead we were
five,
playing
and
chess,
check. Like, yeah.
boxing together.
You guys just like
Then we did, like, a
all
segment
due
down in the
respect. You guys like
basement.
nerded
Yeah,
out
yeah.
on camera and then beat the crap out of each other.
It was
like,
awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. And it's kind of dawning on me right now, just seeing how friendly, like how kindly you approach the fight game in a way. You're a savage in there, but you kind of Jack's kind of the same way. This is another one of the friendliest encounters of very dangerous people that I'm like sitting back and calling. Like, you guys are both.
Everything I do is, it's nothing I've ever said on social media or in the fight game. I respect the shit out of absolutely anybody that'll walk into the cage, but I recognize that a large part of how you do this sport is stuff like that. I got fights because of Instagram comments. That's fucking dumb. I'm sorry. It's that drives me nuts that I had to, like, my coaches told me I had to have an Instagram. I have to have a Facebook. I have to be present on that because that's how this sport works.
It's dumb too.
And I hate that. But it's real. I have to do it. And so I've talked shit on.
You talk shit a couple.
I've talked shit that I didn't believe in because it's a game. It's a fucking game. And I respect everybody that I've ever been in there with. If I ever meet them, I'll explain this to them as well. But I've stopped feeling bad about it because if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I have no emotional ties to anything that I'm saying or doing. It is a game. And it's a game that I'm in there to win because that's my future. You know, so I don't take any of it personally, and I'm not doing any of it personally unless it'll get in your head, and then I'm absolutely doing it personally. And fuck you, you know. But until then, it's a social media thing.
Yeah.
And I don't admit to this because it throws, you know.
Shit, Jack's coming on too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you mean it 100%. The shit talk.
Well, it's fine because I'm better than him, so it doesn't matter.
Or is he just saying that?
Oh.
I know Jack is on. So without further ado, what's going on, my man?
What up, gentlemen? How are we?
On us, gentlemen.
What's going
Ah, keep going.
What's going on, Jack Congdon?
What's up? Just been chilling, observing you guys for the last few minutes here.
So Trevor kind of alluded to he's not a big social media guy. You're not really much of a talker either. We dragged you on Table Titans like a couple times. You know, what's your approach to social media? I guess it's a topic because we're on it. Like, how do you look at social media as a tool for your fighting? You seem to enjoy it. Do you not enjoy it?
It's not really whether I enjoy it or not. Honestly, like, I don't really have the time for it. I work full time and then I get out and then I train. So social media is not really like my main concern. I appreciate that you guys put out a bunch of great stuff, and I'll always repost that. But my main concern is just kind of training and getting better as a martial artist, as a person. So the social media stuff will just kind of come and reflect that. And it's not my main concern. Martial arts and fighting is the main concern.
So, with that being said, obviously this fight came together. You had a great post-fight call-out. Trevor threw some stuff in the comments. What are you looking forward to in this match with Trevor?
It's a unique challenge, man. I mean, you guys were talking about it before, but Trevor was very successful as an amateur, also a Cage Titans welterweight champ, undefeated there. He's been at the higher organizations, had success in Bellator, was just challenging for the Cage Titans Pro title. So, he's been to the higher levels, and that's where I'm trying to get. So in order to get there, I've got to knock off guys that have been there. And then that's outside of the obvious fact that at 6'7", he's an awkward puzzle at welterweight. But obviously, I'm as confident as ever that my skill set matches up well with him, and I'm going to come out on top.
So, back to you, Trevor. What's some things that stand out in Jack's game that you're interested in? You mentioned you think you're better everywhere, but what's some things that maybe that you're worried about, or that you just know you're going to run over?
Nothing pops to mind. I'm trying to be nice. My wrestling.
Don't be nice, dog.
I know.
Stir this shit up. Stir this shit up.
There's no
Be
need.
nice.
My wrestling and my striking is at a level it's never been at before. My wrestling's always been good. My ground game speaks for itself. I don't need to even talk about that. But it's one of those where it's like, man, if it. We've talked with the coaches about, like, do we even take it to the ground? Like, is this one where I just get another submission real quick and make it look easier, or do we get to experiment with a little bit of stuff? Because it's my ground game has never been this good, and the adding elbows into jiu-jitsu just made everything really, really easy for me. So I love that. I love the idea that I can play a little bit more as far as getting to use my striking, getting to use the main thing that I've been focused on for this last little bit has been training with the Muay Thai guys, training with the higher level strikers, and seeing what can happen. Because I've never really been able to show my confidence in that as a pro, which is what we were talking about earlier. As soon as this became a job, as soon as this became something that I had to do and I had to win for my livelihood, I got a lot less creative and a lot less confident with my striking in there, and it became this don't play, don't have fun, find a way to win, get from point A to point B as efficiently as possible, and get the fuck out of there. We don't get paid by the minute. But that made it so that when the game changed, I was very uncomfortable. And now, with the guys we've been training with and the way we've been training, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to be uncomfortable. I want this to be a grind. Is the uglier I can make this fight, the more fun I'm going to have. So yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm stoked.
Yeah. So Jack, go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say, Jack, you're someone who's kind of notoriously had the death touch, if you will. You just like everything you touches in the cage dies. You get that finish ability. We haven't seen you in the real deep waters. Is that something that you're truly looking forward to right now? Hence the call out to someone who just coming off a title shot after going 2-0. Exploding undefeated. You looking for that test? You looking to find yourself in a third round war right here against a veteran?
I'm never looking to get into a 3-round war. You know, if you can get that quick finish, you take it. I do.
He doesn't want to go to the third.
We were just laughing.
I know how dumb the question was. I was trying to frame it.
Don't take it short, bro. Talk your shit.
Yes.
Yeah, I expect that he'll provide more resistance than any of my opponents have in the past, but I still don't expect that it goes the distance.
So,
look, I don't expect as much resistance. I tried.
Whether I win or lose, if this goes the distance, I agree.
I knew he was
spicy on your end too.
I knew Jack wasn't going to go on a tangent right there, so I was trying to roll it so he would go on a tangent.
So, Jack, let me ask you. Obviously, you've competed twice before against teammates of Trevor's.
Yeah.
You know, you fought Bobby Homer. You won the title against Steve Foley. Does this kind of play into your head like, hey, I'm fighting the third time these guys are coming at me? Or is Trevor just an opponent? Do you think of any of that extra kind of curricular stuff on the outside?
It doesn't really matter to me. The guy I'm fighting is just another guy in there. I think particularly because I won against both those guys, it doesn't. There's no extra personal part to it. Yeah, that's anybody that's in there is just another guy. You know, I don't really look at it personal. I don't really look at it on a gym basis. You know, I don't really care about gym beefs. Like I said, I'm in there just trying to get to the next level and better myself as a martial artist.
Hey, I was gonna say you got a training partner, Miguel Savison, who's training for a title defense right there. Where's that motive?
You guys feeding off each other?
Yeah, feeding off each other. That's without a doubt. But he's like on that. He's trying to be where you're at in probably like a year's time frame. If I'm making it up out of thin air in my head, where he's defending his title, where you were at about a year ago, now going pro. So talk about that relationship, because you guys have been kind of competing simultaneously through the start of your both careers.
You guys kind of made your debuts similar time frame, right?
What gym are they at?
Yeah, same day actually, same card. Combat night 2. Yeah.
Combat
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So, Miguel and I have really taken each other, like us training together, to the next level because I feel like both of our skill sets kind of counter each other pretty well. And so we're always grinding against each other. He's a super high volume guy. He's always pushing the pace, always pushing the pace. Whereas, when I first kind of started out, I was kind of more reliant on power and being long and picking precise shots. But going against a guy like him, you guys have seen with his fights, he is pushing the pace the entire time, and he trains the exact same way. So he has absolutely made my cardio a hell of a lot better, and he brings the dog out of me in training. So I know I've got a guy in there that's always pushing me like that, so that even though I haven't seen it yet in the cage, when the time comes, I'll have been in those deep waters and training over and over again, and I'll be good. So Miguel has absolutely pushed me, and he's got a banger of a fight too, man. It's gonna be a stack card.
What does Miguel fight at again?
He's 55,
55.
Sergey Peretsuko.
Oh, fun.
Big
So
fight.
speaking of your
55,
team,
though.
before as we wrap it up with you, I know you don't have a ton of time as well, and I don't want to keep you on too long, but talk to me a little bit about Lakeville MMA. Probably 2 years ago, it was Justin Stevens kind of coming on, and as one of the first fighters.
Xavier came through.
Xavier Cardona, and you're kind of now leading the pack of Lakeville MMA. They had some fighters back with Roger Brackett and Connor Matthews back when he first started fighting, but Lakeville has really made an emergence in the last 2 years, and here you are as one of their first pros and their resurgence. How does it feel like carrying that torch?
It's awesome, dude. Like I've been training there since I was a little kid. Like I was 8 years old. I had way too much energy. My parents needed to put me somewhere, so they stuck me in Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu classes. And I've just been competing and growing in martial arts from there. So to still be training at the school and be able to represent the gym at kind of like the most extreme level of martial arts competition, it's awesome, dude. And you call back to Connor Matthews and Roger Brackett, Tony Lee too. I grew up watching them in cage fights, and I was like, damn, dude, I'm doing that when I grow up. So to be doing it now is definitely very cool. And I hope at the same time, it pushes other people to get better in their training, and 10 years down the line, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more monsters coming out of Lakeville MMA. The kids that are currently training there are beasts.
Oh,
so.
no. They've been grappling at the opening of the show for the past 5 shows, putting on savage grappling performances. You guys are just throwing so many.
I was gonna say, Jack, honestly, you're who you are right now is what Roger Brackett was to you. Those kids that are watching you grow up, it was you when you were 8 years old watching Tony Lee Brackett. So you're inspiring a whole new wave. Very cool, very cool.
Shout out Lakeville MMA.
Benjamin Lindsay's in the comments and Justin Simmons. Well, before we let you go, the floor is yours. Give us your elevator pitch on why you need to come see you fight Trevor Gudde this Saturday. Well, not this Saturday.
I mean, like I said
Don't
before,
line us with your vernacular. Yes.
Like I said before, I'm looking to get to the next level. Trevor's a guy that's been there. He's my biggest test to date, and I plan on going in there and with an opponent who can provide a challenge. I believe you're going to see the best version of myself, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to secure the finish against a guy that's 6'7", very rangy, very tricky on the ground. But the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So it'll be exciting.
Oh, all right, Jack. I didn't think I'd get that much out of you.
That was good. That was good.
Spoken like a gentleman.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to get that much. Jack, thank you so much for coming on, and we look forward to seeing you May 27th.
Peace, boys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Jack Congdon.
All right, Trevor. We got a little bit out of him.
We did. We
Yeah.
talked more. He was better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Like his interviews aren't the most big.
It's funny because he's like
You
kind of
guys are
like
nice guys.
Stoic.
He's a
Self-
nice guy.
Very
Yeah.
stoic guys. I really like you
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. That was good.
Yeah.
He's getting better.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about this with one of the guys upstairs. This dude was very, very interested when I was here. And
That's crazy regular executives.
exactly. It's always fun.
Shout out Coops.
Kind of explaining that like the first time I did one of these was a big deal. It was like my first time on camera and talking and doing stuff like this. But now that I've done X amount of them and all of these
Budweiser's changing
interviews,
it up.
you know, classic represent Missouri.
Hey.
It's more for fun now. Like
Yeah.
this is like I trained hard today already, and getting an excuse to come down here and do something like this. It's still practice. It's still being on camera and being able to talk and hang out with you guys and whatnot. But more so, it's almost just it's part of the game. Like it's a little tiny way to get in somebody's head. And there's like the levels to how to intimidate somebody. In my mind, go from like the moment the fight is confirmed until the moment one of us gets our hands raised. And a lot of it happens at weigh-ins, and a lot of it happens, anytime you can. But stuff like this is big. Just being better at talking, little things like that, like just enjoying stuff like this is. I remember finding it intimidating when I was fighting people that knew all of you guys and were good on camera. And like the first time I fought, or one of the first times I fought, the photographer knew my opponent and like welcomed him up to the, hey, how you doing? And it's like, I didn't fucking know anybody. And I was there kind of terrified by myself. And like,
Who was your first?
Donnell Ford.
Oh, okay.
Was my first.
Shit, Connecticut.
Yeah.
He's out of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A minute, and there's no videos of it because the video was owned by some other service that I had to pay for an email version of. So now I have an email copy of this fight.
Really? What fight? What card was that?
That was 431.
Yeah.
Before you were there.
2015, 2014.
Yeah. I remember being in the stands for it because I
Yeah.
remember seeing it. I was pissed drunk. I was like, that's a tall motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, and I had like buzzed hair and skinny, and my neck was like this thin, like, and I just went in there with unfounded confidence. Great.
It's funny you bring this up because I say that to a lot of the fighters. Like, we ask guys to come on and say, hey, it's open. They're like, oh, no. And it's like, this is part of it. Like, just as much as it is training.
Social media, all of it. It's all the pieces matter.
And as much as I wanted to fight it, like recognize that, like in my first couple of interviews, I realized like, oh damn, I'm pretty good on camera.
Yeah.
Like in comparison with a lot of the guys that were on here.
Never too much.
I remember getting
never too much headroom.
Yeah, exactly. I remember getting interviewed against people, and I don't want to call anybody out on this, but but like looking to the side and trying not to laugh while they were giving their part. Like just them being so bad on camera that like me and Richie are making eye contact on the side while he's interviewing them, and I'm just trying not to lose my shit. And they're fighters. We're all a bunch of fucking broken children in here doing this sport, and nobody does this because their life is going especially well. Nobody's like, oh man, I've got everything in life. I think I'll be a fighter.
Misfit toys.
Yeah, like and when I started,
I've never heard anyone break it right down like that, but you're actually not.
We're all a little off.
We all are. And when I started training, I had this mindset that it was going to be a bunch of fucking tough, hardworking, nobody complains. And then I got in there, and it's just a bunch of stuff. And you have to find the people that
We're all
can
bitchy
push you.
and catty.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
talking about stupid shit.
But
then you cut weight, then you get it,
and people break and people don't break. And having been fighting for like almost a decade now, nobody that I started training. And I will even say for like the last 5 years, nobody is still in there anymore. And the guys that I fought way back in the day, like Marty might be the only one that's still going.
Yeah.
Ross Denard still.
Ross Denard is back. And
he came back.
I
thought
he's a
fight
monster.
Again.
Yeah. I got to train with him down at Nostos, and getting to spar with him after he was the hardest fight I had as an amateur, hands down.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first fight my dad ever saw. This is something we were talking to the drunk dude upstairs about. That was an ugly fight, and that was the first time where it wasn't pretty. It didn't go the way it was, like survive or lose kind of thing. But I love Ross. He came back with two very, very hard fights and did amazing.
And then he beat
Mo Kanani. I was scared about that. Yeah. But the Nostos guys train like we used to train back in the old day, back in the old gym, where it's just like, man, get in there, don't complain, train hard. Like, we're in here more than anybody else, and we're more hard-nosed than anybody else, and we'll win. And that works for Ross. He has that mindset.
We actually was talking about, I was looking for a fight for somebody, and they're like, you know what, Ross is getting married at the end of the year, but I know he could use some money. So, like, you know, he'll pretty much fight anybody. He just wants tough fights. And I offered one guy, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to really excite him to get him up. Like, unless you really want to throw money, probably going to beat the shit out of that
He
guy.
wants a hard
And,
fight,
like, he
and
wants
I
a hard
respect the
fight,
shit out of that. Ross is on the very, very small list of people that I wouldn't be terribly excited to fight again. It would be a blast, and I respect the shit out of him. I like him a lot, but man, that was an ugly, hard fight.
Who's on the short list?
Oh, not a lot of them, but it's like I'll fight anybody I've ever fought before, without question. And I'll fight Ross again with all the respect in the world. I don't want to, I like him, but I would because I fought him before.
Right?
He's 55. He shouldn't be a welterweight. But there's.
Didn't you fight at 65? Before?
I fought my first 3 fights were catchweight at 65. Man, when I moved to Boston, I was probably 160 pounds in my height, like coming out of KC and all the shit I was going through there, and just partying and not sleeping. And MMA, I want to say it took me like 3 years to get up to like 185. From that,
you've really bulked up over the years.
Oh, now, now I'm an adult.
Now you got to
no, it's a hard
now you got to cut weight.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, I used to pitch you as fights. I'd be like, he's tall, but he only walks at 170. He's just like a string bean, and that's how I would pitch him. I'm like, and then now, like lately, you know, you walk in 195.
Well, now we have
oh shit.
Now we have Don in the UFC. Now we have guys at the highest level.
Shout out to Don.
Don Shanus. Brother.
Big shout out.
We have guys at the highest level, and we're figuring out. We have the UFC Performance Institute's rehydration techniques. We have their weight cut techniques. We have how they do all of this, and that has changed it. My cut against the guy I fought before, Giannetti, his coach, jiu-jitsu guy.
Oh, Burl.
Justin Burl.
From Burl.
That was a terrible cut. That was one of the worst cuts I've ever had. And you remember the other day, I was an asshole.
You were grumpy.
You
were grumpy that one.
I was Giannetti. And he's like, fucking, I'm like, dude, you want him here on weight, or do you want him fucking, like, complain about an hour?
No, I was
he's 10 minutes late. I'm like, dude,
it was
comes
bad.
on weight.
It was bad.
It's funny. I actually was talking to Eric today. This morning on my way to work. And we were talking about that. I was like, yeah, man, he was like kind of a dick. And I said, he's normally pretty chill. He's like yelling at me about where his phone. I'm like, do you want him on weight, or do you want him like? Is the 10 minutes going to kill you? And then he showed up on weight.
He showed up on weight, and all the respect.
And you were still mad.
Part of that was a little bit of a game.
Yeah.
If I can make him feel bad about it.
Okay.
Okay. If I can, and that was a lot of it. Like make weight on time. I don't know. Yeah. I'm real particular about people making weight. That's part of
you've never had any issues.
I've never missed weight, and that was a miserable weight cut.
Yeah. I remember I talked to Eric after that. On the phone. I was like, oh, everybody's good. And he's like, oh man, that was hard. That was kind of your eye opener.
I was getting too big. My strength conditioning coach is one of my best friends and an amazing, amazing coach. But we had too much time to get ready for that, and I was too big. I see the photos. Same with the Giannetti fight. I was too big for that one. I see the photos of me at weigh-ins, and it's like, oh shit, that's not. It was crazy. I was huge.
Yeah.
But that's not. The rehydration didn't go well for the Burrell fight. To the point where I was cramping up in the car ride to the fight. Oh, wow. You know, which is like fucking red flags. Bad. And I never had anything like that. And we fixed it a little bit for the Giannetti fight, but I still didn't have. My brain wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like
you had confidence in it.
Yeah, I did, but it didn't last. You know, like the confidence was still there, but my body. 2 minutes in, I took a deep breath and nothing came in. You know, there was no blood was transferred to or no oxygen was transferred to the blood. And now we've changed all of it. And having gotten ready for this last fight that then fell through 2 days before, I got to do the full cut. I got to do the full cut with the new plan, with the UFC's fucking plan for how to cut weight, how to rehydrate. And I felt amazing. And I remember being so upset that it was
performed.
Yeah, and that's never. You're always upset. You always went through X amount of hell to get there, but there's always a little part of you that's like, oh, I got more time to get ready for this. And this was one of the first ones in a long time where I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like I am ready. And the coaches talked to me about it afterwards. There was a level up in that I'd never experienced before. Where, like I said before, I started loving it.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm looking forward to training. I'm looking forward to learning new stuff. beating people in new ways, elbowing faces off and all that. Like, oh, I can't wait.
What do you think, Mikey?
Yeah.
Dude, man, I'm hyped. No bullshit. All jokes aside, like, sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but I'm hyped to see you back in the cage, bro. You know what I mean? So even no matter what, it's fight night. After the fight's over, I'm down to chill, down to hang out, hug it out, whatever.
This is a sport.
It's a sport at the end of the day. Sometimes like, oh, fuck Mikey, da 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 da, and I'm like, all right, dude, yeah, it sounds good, but like, the end of the day,
hype the fights.
The end of the day, I'm trying to hype the fights. Not only that, hype the promotion. I love this place.
Totally, yeah.
I love that you're back and everything. So
You fought his
it's
boy,
awesome, man. And you fought someone that
I've
close to
never
it.
taken a single part. I've never actually had the
He
thought
actually
from
said that,
my-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like never in my entire life I had a single moment of review or anything.
No, yeah, I
Buy
appreciate that,
Buy
man.
him a
Listen,
beer.
There was beers all over the table.
Yeah, plenty of beers.
But there's always secret juice somewhere too.
Yeah.
You heard?
He got the tequila. He likes the hot stuff.
Oh boy!
Hey,
oh God! Don't get you
There's
guys
some works in
started.
the plans. Off camera, we're gonna talk.
Well, anyways,
Yeah, this is always-
before we wrap it up,
We also gotta say something too. After we do this little wrap up, but we also gotta what's today? Yeah, and what happened today? The Boston Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
We got to
Right,
shout out the
somebody's
Boston
done that.
Marathon, the
Yeah.
runners. You see the
Way to go,
shirt.
Helen. Mikey
You see
was
the
there. He
shirt?
didn't run it, but he
I was there.
there.
Listen, I was there in full support. It's
Oh, you have a friend who ran
absolutely.
it?
I got a friend that
Oh, I
the
wish they
girls in
sent
our crew,
pictures, man.
I think they did it in under 3 hours.
Dude, that's so
And
crazy.
she's married to my buddy Brandon, who's one of the music kids, one of the band kids that I first hung out with when I moved up here. Those were our first group of friends, were all these fucking folk punk, I don't know, poor kids that played music, and she's part of that crew but she's around people that smoke cigarettes and drink constantly, and she's a super athlete.
Nice.
And as somebody else in the group that can't smoke cigarettes and drink constantly, that like has to hang out with these people and do that, it's like, good way to go, Helen. Yeah, that's an extra level of like a little oomph when you got to turn down all the invites to shit, focus every now and then.
So,
it's the marathon is unreal. I sent Joe some pictures. I don't know if he can throw them up, but like being there and just paying your respects and just watching these people just run towards the finish line.
So he brought his dog.
So I brought my dog because my dog's a
Absolutely.
therapy dog. So I was having, some of the runners pet him. That's actually a runner. He's really cool. It was just amazing just to be there and just, they were just everywhere, man. We took the train in, which wasn't a great idea, but it is what it is.
There you go.
That's as close as you can get to the finish line, obviously, and it's just amazing. And obviously, Becca's really short, so she couldn't really see. But I'm like over there, like, holy shit! Like this is just taking it all in. So, but yeah, I just wanted to shout out the marathon out because obviously this is
we did today.
This is
Look at that. Damn, you are pretty close.
dude. I'm tall, man. That's
You're
as close as you
cheesing.
can get.
You're cheesing
Yeah,
high.
dude, I was happy to be there. And, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that we do here in Boston. It brings everybody together, Shout out the first responders, all the medical team that was there. You know what I mean? And I was just happy to get that in. So
what I want to ask you before we wrap it up is another big welterweight fight. I don't know if you saw Pat Casey versus Marty Davis.
Shit.
Love to get your thoughts. I don't know. Yeah,
That's
so,
awesome.
So there you go. You haven't even heard of it.
All right.
So there you go. Pat
I'm
Casey.
so bad at following.
Yeah,
I didn't know the
Casey
gym that fucking Congdon was playing out of.
Hey, whatever. That's what you're
It's fine.
But Pat Casey versus
Casey
Marty
fought
Davis.
on the Bellator card.
Yep. And he's a name that we kicked around for you
Yep.
before. And he goes any promotion you name.
Yeah.
UFC.
hell no.
He
That's
doesn't
where
like
that's where
anything.
we're going next.
Bellator.
I got water in my mouth.
Anyways, Pat Casey's a name we actually kicked around before. Yeah, Marty Davis is something we fought twice before.
And I'll
What do you
fight
think of that
Marty
matchup?
again.
We talked about that before.
Yeah. I didn't want to fight Marty because I'd done it. Man, I love it.
Because you guys shared the cage. You went the distance both times.
Both times.
Yeah.
We spent a
Once for a
lot
title,
of time.
too.
A lot of time
Yeah,
hugging each other.
And
34
he was
minutes.
probably my favorite fighter as an amateur. Talk about having fun. And that's kind of what I anticipate against Congdon.
Yeah.
The shit toss's not going to work similar to how it didn't work with Marty.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of mind game. But the way that
Congdon's
you
not
play,
really like.
yeah, the way I played against Marty, the way I acted on the stage was very much part of the game. And that's kind of how it is against Congdon. But I respected it, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
I remember meeting Marty's mom.
Oh yeah. He's always there.
This was like This was years later, and I was at a Cage Titans event where I cornered somebody really early, and then I went and got a bunch of drinks. And I'm in the line for more beer, and all of a sudden I hear, Trevor, and I turn around.
I'll do that again. How did you say it?
Trevor. This tiny little woman with this crew of Marty Navis's people.
Oh,
Like all of Marty's brothers.
You're about to get jumped.
Oh, it was great. And she's like, Marty's Papa. And I was like, oh my, and I immediately went from just like on a level to like staring ahead.
Yeah.
Just, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. I loved fighting Marty. It was my favorite fight I've ever had. I respect the shit out of him. Thank you for, all and she meet you. All the brothers like nodded at me, and then they all took off like a mafia. Yeah, it was great. But Marty was probably my favorite person I've ever fought. That was a blast.
And we got that
That's a fun one.
Nice, and it was great.
Like
In fact, Casey's kind of in the same boat. Like, man, that kid fights very similar. And he fought Roman Feraldo, who I fought in Bellator, who's a phenom, and that didn't go great, as it did for me either. But I like Casey. Getting to interact with him. That Bellator card was wild. We were quarantined in a casino for a week before the fight. So for 7 days, I lived in a fucking casino. I'm gonna be honest. I've been to a casino maybe once in my life before that. Not a casino guy. I like quiet, dark bars where I can sit down and talk to people while I drink.
Play chess.
Play chess.
Go upstairs, have beers.
Stuff. Yeah, and living in a casino, and then only interacting with the fighters. We weren't allowed to interact with anybody else. Was wild. Yeah. So
couldn't play any games.
No. We were allowed to stand in certain areas. Like we couldn't go to any restaurants.
So you had to like yell across at each other. Like,
but they had the warm-up areas were set up in a circle around the arena, in these little tents. And Casey's was kind of close to mine. So we saw each other every other day when we were down there training and whatnot. That's a great fight. I didn't know that was going to happen. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Prediction? Marty, you got Marty?
Yeah, I like Marty, and I like the way he fights. I haven't seen Casey's last couple of fights, so I have very little.
Well, his last bare knuckle boxing fight. Have you seen that?
Cool. No.
He bare knuckle boxed his last fight. He actually shot a takedown and threw a spinning back kick.
Love it. Awesome.
It went viral. The
Both
spinning back kick
illegal, but cool.
That was only like a month ago.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Casey's recent stuff, but I love the way Marty fights. He's got kids and stuff like that now, so I think he's going to do well. I like Marty a lot.
All right. Well, I got not much more.
It's been fun.
It's been a fun show. It's always having people in there.
Yeah, fun. Thanks for taking the
reverse
booster seat to even it all out and being the first guest with the new table and the new basement studio.
Yeah. It's gonna get better. Hey, listen, we're elevated.
Out there, so after we get off here, we're gonna
do some stuff. We're gonna do some stuff.
Everything's
under construction.
Love it.
So we'll have to have you again back. Once
Yeah,
everything's
please.
all set up.
I'm gonna clean all this shit up, and we're gonna be able to actually eat down here. Like,
We got a lazy.
You've never worked.
I was
noticing
noticing this. Yeah, we can have a hookah.
Dude, we're bringing cigars. If he's okay, we're gonna bring some cigars.
He's the only guy that doesn't smoke.
Trevor,
we'll smoke
Trevor
cigars.
Gudde's over here in fight camp. We're promoting his fight. He's like, Budweiser.
This is America. We can do what the fuck we want.
Well, there you go. So, thank you guys. I think we got this hype video. I want to watch it again. I definitely got me hyped. May 27th is right around the corner. Next week, who do we got? Send me a text. I think it's Miguel.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. We'll talk
Tune
about
in
it
next week. Tune in next week.
Schedules. We got it.
Oh, Marty Navis, Pat Casey, Jake Kasky, and Joe Attila next week.
There we go.
Boom. All right. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Let them hear you!
guys. Get your tickets. Support your fighters. Support local MMA. You know what I mean? We're a big community down here. We love everybody, and I can't wait to see everybody Saturday night. Thank you.
There we go.